what is the angle that you would take if you were that plumber to get featured in the news?
Well, my first thought goes past traditional news outlets and traditional ways that people would have their eyes on it.
People aren't paying attention to putting in a little bit of work as much as they should be.
I'm the first person to show people what we do. You have to get creative. You cannot just sit back and think, I have a great story, I'm going to just sit back and this PR story is going to happen. Like, no way, especially in 2025.
How do you go about finding the journalist to pitch to?
Great tool called that helps you build media lists based on keywords, topics, and your pitch.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Marketing Without Rules, the show where we inspire business owners by bringing on guests who exemplify the hunter mindset. They make moves, they color outside the lines, and they have found creative ways to channel the attention of their community into currency. This show is sponsored by Crocus Solutions, a web design and SEO agency focused on helping home service companies. I am your host, Lewis Vandervalk, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Darcy Cudmore. Darcy is the founder of RepuLinks, a boutique digital PR and SEO agency that's landed over 5,000 organic backlinks for clients since its launch. A journalism graduate who cut his teeth in marketing and PR with a Toronto agency, Darcy started freelancing on Fiverr and Upwork, eventually turning those gigs into a thriving business serving brands around the world. Darcy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that nice intro, Lewis. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, excited to chat, excited to dive in. Backlinks is your bread and butter. I am a student of backlinks, I will say. I find it fascinating. I said to people before, it's like going out and finding Easter eggs on the internet. You can grab some authority from and build things that way. So let's start, back. I know you're a PEI boy. I'm a New Brunswick resident here, but you're in Ottawa now. But let's go back a little bit to the founding story, if you will, of Darcy. I know that, you had the journalism thing. I'm really interested to start there in the journalism thing, because I think seeing the perspective of a journalist, seeing from the perspective of a journalist is really interesting to me. And I think interesting to our listeners in the sense of, all right, if you're pitching a story or whatnot, like what are the things that journalists actually care about?
Yeah, I definitely think it's helped me. And I never intended to be in this side of the conversation. Honestly, when I was in journalism, I was thinking I would be the one getting pitched and writing stories. It just so happened that I, crossed that wall and now I'm on the other side. But I think if you're a journalist looking for an interesting story, there's certain things that PR people can do to make themselves stand out, make their clients stand out. And I think the biggest thing is nurturing those relationships. Like, so many people come to me and they're like, do you have relationships with journalists? Have you been able to, do you have a person that you can pitch and they write a story for you just like that? And while that's extremely tough, especially in today's world, and I wouldn't say that I have a journalist ready to do it, to write a story for me, it's definitely helped me nurture those relationships and know what a journalist might be looking for.
So it's kind of like a, hey, I'm one of you.
I do include it sometimes. I'm like, I'm a journalism graduate and certain things like that, so they understand. There's more people than you might expect on the other side now, especially as journalism. It got so tough to find work. Like, I went to journalism school on PEI. And I mean, finding a journalism job on Prince Edward Island would be basically impossible. I did move away. And before I even really attempted to find a journalism job, a PR agency was hiring journalism graduates. I took that, and that kind of led me to this like crazy journey I've been on. But there are a lot of similarities. I think it's definitely helped me. I wouldn't change my education even to get a formal PR education. I'm happy with what I have. And it's a pretty wild industry, especially since even 2017 when I graduated. PR journalism has changed like so much, even in 8-9 years.
That's wild. So PR, public relations, is what I think of. Some people say press release, but public relations is the big one. So you worked with the agency. What was your typical client that you were working with?
So it was an upstart agency who was focused on digital PR. So they had clients from all over the world. They were based in Toronto, and I would travel there from Ottawa to work with them. But a typical client was an online business for sure of some sort, a lot of apps we were working with, which was super exciting. Some of my biggest PR mentions, coverage, whatever you call it, have come for apps. There was a big app boom, I would say 2017 to 2020, where like everyone was starting some sort of app-based business. So those were probably half of our clients. We also had a lot of health clients as well, therapists, online therapists, dental offices, different things that might not solely be online, but really depended on online coverage to run their business. which was really exciting for us too, because it was a legit feel whenever you're able to work with like health-based businesses, whether it be an online therapy or psychologist or something like that. It validated your work because it wasn't just some random person. Like we were running real stories. So, but we did get to work with just about everybody and every client. And that was like a huge growth and expertise experience. Like I got it all in that 2-3 years I was with that agency. Started from the bottom, literally like, hey, Darcy, can you make a list of journalists or something, like the most mundane task, to pitching journalists, to strategizing, to like just everything happened in such a short window that without that experience, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. It wasn't like all positive, but definitely a huge step for me in learning PR and, growing in that area.
That's awesome. So I want to get tactical here for people, and I might dive in and then we'll kind of get back to the story of where you are now, because I think the tactical part will give more credence to some of where you are now. But let's take a little bit of a right turn here and let's pretend you're a home service company. I know you work with a lot of the larger national, kind of national SEO and whatnot, but I'd really like to look at, like, let's say you're a home service company, maybe a plumber, and you've done something cool in your community and you want to get some, featured coverage in the community, more than just, one mom posting about it on Facebook.
Right.
What is the angle that you would take if you were that plumber to get featured in the news? And again, guys, I'm hitting Darcy cold with this because I want to kind of be, if you can kind of talk through your thought process, there's no right answer here. I'm looking to learn, and I know this will be valuable for other people too.
Well, my first thought goes past traditional news outlets and traditional ways that people would have their eyes on it, and like, how can you find something a little different? I worked with a I think I should be able to say it, but a casino in Ontario before.
Yep.
And one of the strategies we did for PR was going after like influencers and bloggers that had a legit local audience. And like we wouldn't skip local media, but we would put our time into nurturing some of those relationships, because I do believe in local news. I like local news. I want local news to stick around, and I do think it has a purpose. But as far as attracting a new audience or something, I really do believe like a localized influencer or blogger has more eyeballs than probably a traditional news channel does. So my first step would be, how can you get creative and not just lean on those old strategies that everyone's doing? I'm not saying ignore them, but I'm saying just do something different. So if you've done something cool, maybe you're a home service company, maybe you're in landscaping and you have designed a great garden for somebody and you want to showcase that in a way that could actually get you leads. A local influencer who has an active following, who engages with their posts and is able to share those visuals might be a better PR strategy than you think. And a lot of people think like, oh, that's more digital marketing, that's more, social media. Of course it is. But like when you're thinking like PR and digital PR especially, you have to be strategic and really kind of come up with some different things. And the idea of PR, of strengthening your brand and getting more eyeballs on your brand, if you can get in front of that type of audience easily with things like visuals, that's the end goal, right? So that's my first thing I go to. If you're looking to get coverage, adapt, go after blogs that are in your area as well. We had a ton of Ontario-based bloggers that we went to with the casino, and they would post like really cool, engaging stories of like, here was my night at the casino, and they would talk about the food. They would talk about different things. We got a backlink from it. It was, searchable on Google, all those things that were really cool. And like I said, influencer obviously is great, but
casino links are hard to buy too, which is interesting. An interesting tactic too, from a strictly backlinking perspective. Like it's hard to find those.
Yeah, and we didn't purchase. One thing I should say up front, like my business is really grown on organic coverage. I do not buy links or coverage of any sort, whether it's PR or just simple backlinks. We focus on organic wins for our clients. I've been like that for as long as I can remember. There's nothing wrong with paying for coverage or buying links, but for me, I just feel like it's something I'm good at, is getting those organic pieces of content published. I also think not enough people are doing it. I think a lot of people have switched to paid media and they're just like...
It's easier, right?
It's easier. I really get discouraged when I hear like organic link building is dead, organic PR is dead. And I'm like, it takes time, it takes effort and patience, but it's definitely not dead. And in a way, I would argue that most organic coverage is probably going to beat paid coverage most times. So that would be one thing as far as the local home services company.
That's super valuable advice, by the way. Like, your people aren't paying attention to, putting in a little bit of work
Right.
as much as they should be. The little bit of work, they can get some compounding efforts. You can go out and buy a press release. You can go out and do this and that and the other thing. But, getting that actual person in the actual area to, promote your company is super valuable. It's really even becoming more valuable too with the way that Google and the LLMs are paying attention to stuff. Brand mentions are so important.
Yeah, it's something that I see a lot. People are... So what I do at RepuLinks is we pitch PR opportunities all the time, and it's really not rocket science what we do. I'm the first person to show people what we do. Lewis, we had a chat a couple of weeks ago where I basically screen shared and show you what we do exactly. I think the thing that people struggle with is just putting in that effort and that persistency to keep at it. They give up after a few pitches that don't go well or they're not noticed. And, I also understand that maybe a CEO or a business owner in general can't spend 10 to 20 hours on this a week. So, that's really where we step in is we help them along with that process. We work with our clients to do organic pitching and make it so that it's like sustainable and consistent, because if people try and do it themselves, we just find that they'll get really discouraged and figure that it's kind of taking away from the stuff they should be doing. And then they kind of resent it and then they just ignore it. So now they're not doing any sort of PR pitching, and those opportunities are flying by every day. And they're like over here just doing their own thing with nobody on it. In the sand. Whereas you could find someone to work with you, or, hire a part-time person or hire an agency like ours, small plug, to do that. And then you get best of both worlds. You don't have to spend your time doing it, but you're not missing out on those opportunities also.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, everything from, well, let's do this. I know you said that, you're willing to share the recipe. Let's pull the curtain back and open the recipe box and pull out one of your tried and tested ones and rock.
For sure. I guess, is this a video? Like, will people have access?
This is video, yeah. So you actually can share screen. We can totally do that. At the bottom of the screen there, you should be able to, there's a little monitor with a plus sign. You choose that, and then I'll launch you on stream when you're ready.
So, all right, while I do this, I'll say what I'm doing is bringing up a platform called featured.com. I'm sure people have heard about it. If you haven't, I would go to it right now as we're speaking. You can easily sign up for a free trial and be able to view everything that I can view with my paid plan. This is a platform that a lot of people are using, but in my opinion, not enough. And Brett from featured.com, he's the founder. I chat with him regularly, and hopefully you'll appreciate this plug. But what they've done here is created a platform for you to run organic link building all on one site. So this is a strategy that you don't have to build lists of journalists and do pitching outside of this platform. This is a one size fits all platform for you to get backlinks and PR mentions. Sure. And as we'll see here, I know, Lewis, you've used this, as you'll see, like there are huge platforms on this, on featured.com for you to pitch, like Yahoo Life, Forbes, USA Today, Fast Company, US News, Bustle. So basically what these are journalists who are looking for a specific expert to help with an article they're writing. So here, as I stop on this USA Today piece, this is someone who's looking for a travel expert to help with an article they're writing for USA Today. So basically asking the question, I'm looking for travelers who have opted for these long-term rentals instead of hotels. Basically just looking for some experience, some knowledge about this specific travel question. If you are a travel expert and you're on here, you click answer, you provide your insight, and you click submit. There's a very real chance that you will then be quoted in this article in USA Today with a backlink, with a mention to your brand, all within this article. And the list goes on. We have Fast Company here looking for a different type of expert, US News. Here's Bustle looking for someone in fashion, which is a pretty broad person. I'm sure there's a lot of experts listing who either could fit into this or know someone. So this is just one platform where opportunities are here for you to pitch, and it's completely free. You can get a paid version of this platform where you pay, you get unlimited pitches, you see all this information, but you can also sign up to feature.com with an email and you get 3 pitches a month for completely free. And the potential is, you just never know, like getting backlinks, getting PR coverage on some of the biggest publications you can even imagine. And like I said, it's all free. It's all just a matter of your time, which could be an hour, could be 3 hours, whatever you'd like to put into it. And this is just one of the many platforms we use at RepuLinks. Like there's literally 12 platforms that we've signed up to and that we monitor on an everyday basis, for our clients for these opportunities. Once we find an opportunity that's relevant to our client, we flag it to them. We work with them to write a pitch using their experience, and then we submit it in a timely manner. We've had clients in Forbes just this past week, GoDaddy, HubSpot.
That's huge.
List goes on. And this is a never-ending pool of opportunities. Like I said, just one platform of the many that are available for people.
Yeah, and so I've used Featured. I've talked about it. Love it. And so my stats were, I think I did 50 pitches and I got 20 landed, something like that. So it's pretty good uptake for me anyway.
Yeah, you'll see we've had 2,300 links published on Featured. So you said 5,000 on the opening. This platform alone is half of our wins or about that. We've had 262 links or articles that are on the way for clients. And in total submitted, 15,000 pitches. So this is a monster of a platform. It should be used by everybody, whether you
such a good user face too.
Very, it's as user friendly as you can imagine. You can literally watch your pitches get reviewed, selected, published, not selected. Everything lives on this app. You can create your profiles. You do it all. So this is, if you want to get coverage for your brand, you want to get backlinks, you want to just do anything, you have to be on Featured, in my opinion. It's a great starting point and it should not be ignored because free, tons of opportunities. There's just no excuse to not be using it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's like the coolest thing that feature that someone's gotten through Featured for a client?
Yeah, I would say USA Today. We had a few wins actually in the home services space, which is a space we do really well in. Basically, they were looking for an electrician. We worked with our client to answer the questions that they had. We submitted it, and next thing you know, you log on and you've been on USA Today for a client. It's like,
that's wild.
It's like a great way to start the day. We've had that. I'm trying to think back to other ones. Entrepreneur repeatedly, great wins for clients. Yeah, CBS News was another one. I know a client was on there for a specific industry that they're in, and they made a huge sale. And they asked the client, they said, just really curious, how you heard about us. How did you come across us? And the guy literally said in an email, I have it. He said, I found you on CBS News. And so, that client paid me $679 a month to work with him to pitch these. And he made a $10,000 sale from one of the articles we placed. So not only links, not only PR coverage, these things can lead to all sorts of other outcomes, including pretty big sales for some clients.
That's phenomenal. And I'll reiterate it throughout this, is all of this brand mentions. I talk about SEO all the time, and I'm starting to talk more about how it's not just your website. It's not just your Google business profile. It's showing up in Reddit. It's showing up in news articles. It's showing up in as many places as possible so that when Google or any LLM is searching for the types of things that you do, you then stand a chance of showing up and becoming one of those, it adds authority to everything that you're doing and helps you to be that answer.
Yeah. Another thing that I always encourage clients to do is share the coverage we get in as many places as possible. If they have a newsletter, just say, hey, we were featured in this publication. If they have a website, put the logo of the publication on there. All these things that you see quite often, this is how it happens. If you've been to a competitor and you see as seen on USA Today or Forbes or whatever, how it happens, it happens by doing these organic pitches and getting these placements. So these are really exciting too. Clients love seeing themselves in print. It's not just a backlink that's worth a lot. It's wow, there I am as an expert in this publication. It's pretty cool and pretty exciting to do. Even how many years later, I still get excited when we land a win for a client, especially when it's last week was a great one on Forbes for a client directly in his niche. He was quoted through it as an expert. It had a backlink, and it was just a great feeling for the client, but also for us at RepuLinks.
Yeah, amazing. So talk about, you went through Featured there, and I always want to connect the dots for people who are listening. And we have a lot of home service. You said you crush it for home service. What are the types of questions that someone might come across on Featured that they're like, oh, well, I see fashion, I see some other stuff. Why would they be asking questions that I could answer? How would you answer that question?
Yeah, so I could have brought up home service, but one thing we see a lot of, it's what is a home maintenance project I should be doing at the end of the summer or something like that. We see that literally every season. We have a question coming from a major publication that says, what home maintenance project should I look into next month? And for every home service client we have, whether they're plumbers, electricians, HVAC, gardening, roofing, whatever, you can answer that. And you can say they should be doing this in this, in the fall and focusing on this. And this is our advice to be effective, providing your insight as an expert into that topic. And those are the types of questions you'll see. We also see a lot of real estate focused kind of investing stuff. So like, what's one upgrade I could make to my home to improve the value? Every home services industry has something they can answer to that, whether it's replacing the fuse box as an electrician or updating the plumbing or putting in a new bathtub or whatever it might be. And as soon as we see those for our clients, and they always come from big publications, we jump on it and we drum up content that we can submit. That makes sense. And that provides value to the journalists, and then hopefully provides value to the reader if they decide to use our quotes. So there's a never ending pool. Like, you could wake up and check featured or Haro or SOS or quoted, and there's a direct question right in your wheelhouse. Even if it's niche, it could be, you could think, wow, I'm in a really niche industry. I'm probably never going to see any opportunities that fit for me. And you would be surprised. We've worked with some pretty niche clients, and like, something comes through and it's a direct fit, and we respond, and it's actually easier for them because the market's thinner. They have less competition, and then we get a win for them on a good publication. So I'd also say there's a lot of general topics that people can respond to, that they can fuse their own personality into and their own industry into, whether it's like, what's a technology that you're using in your industry that you feel is underrated or something like that. You can respond to that with your niche. And most of those are on pretty good publications as well and could result in coverage of some sort. So yeah, there's definitely no shortage. If you are on these platforms and you feel like there's no opportunities, I would challenge you that maybe you're not digging hard enough or not getting creative enough, because there's tons. And
you can also sort it too. But back to general topics, like I've gotten one from, I think the question was, what's your favorite family movie?
Right.
So
yeah.
My movie. And they quoted me.
Right. And you could, you get a backlink, you could lead that back to the work you do, the experience you have, things like that. Like, you get creative, you could connect anything. Like, we could have an exercise where you give me some random topic and I gotta fit a client. And like, I'm sure there's a way to do most of them. And we've definitely done that. So and it's fun. You like, with any PR campaign, whether it's what I call the reactive PR, this is kind of a reactive PR strategy. You wait for the journalist to ask a question and then you respond. Whether it's that type of PR strategy or proactive, where you're drumming up the story idea and you're pitching them, you have to get creative. You cannot just sit back and think, oh, I have a great story, I'm going to just sit back and this PR story is going to happen. Like, no way, especially in 2025. It's not going to happen. You have to get creative. So, do it or you'll be left behind, because I guarantee you one of your competitors will get creative and beat you out on all these opportunities.
Or they're going to hire you at RepuLinks.
Or they could hire RepuLinks or bring somebody in to do it in-house. Like, I definitely, recommend, if you are an in-house company that really values an in-house team, like, have someone in-house do it, whether it's like marketing student or a part-timer or whatever, someone who has good writing skills in your office. Maybe they're the office administrator, but you're like, hey, this person might be able to help me write some pitches. Like, it's pretty fun and could be taught to just about everyone, if they have a keyboard and a little bit of creative juice behind them.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, you and I love this stuff, but it's so valuable for a business owner to jump on this. I'm going to switch back to, you're talking about reactive versus proactive PR. Let's say someone has a proactive PR story that they want to get out. You had a really good tip earlier about what you do with the casinos to kind of go directly to local influencers. I think that's a brilliant strategy. Let's look at traditional media, because you can get some really solid backlinks from that as well if you can land them. So you pick a home service industry and a topic, and let's get creative on the proactive side of PR.
Yeah, sure. One that I've been talking a lot about has been like electricity, like energy companies, whether it's solar based companies or a company that's just generally focused on being more sustainable. That's something that I'm seeing a lot of conversation about, is the usage of energy and energy pricing and stuff like that. So that's one industry I love talking about, because it's trending right now in many ways.
Let's pick that. Let's pick a topic again, and let's get tactical here with the rest, because I think that almost any home service company could spin something on the environmental or helping the ecosystem. But let's pick solar, and then let's dive in.
Sure. All right. Yeah. I mean, so when running a proactive PR campaign, the first thing I tell everyone is, like, you need information that is not available to the common folk. Like, you are in this industry, you work it every day, you chat with people, you have data, analytics, information that is valuable, and you shouldn't undersell that to yourself. Like, whether you even know it, you have information that other people will find interesting. And the biggest first step with a lot of clients is like dragging that out, finding it, and letting them recognize that it's valuable. Because a lot of companies you talk to, they'll say like, hey, this is, they'll tell me a story and then pass over it like as if it's like nothing. And I'm like, wait, like that's really valuable. And a journalist could use that in a story they're working on, especially if it was tied to something bigger than what you're doing, whether it's sustainability, solar energy, economy, whatever it might be. So the first step we always take with a client is like uncovering the behind the scenes a little bit and accessing the data they have, because that's the number one piece of value they have, is their experience every single day in the industry.
Yeah, that's huge. So they've got the piece of data. They found something interesting. Let's say it's, maybe some new technology that's come out that they're now installing. We're going to solar one here, or maybe it's some stat on, hey, with this new rebate, this is something that we've done or whatever. How do you go about finding the journalist to pitch to if you're not, featured again using, I like how you're saying reactive versus proactive. So, we're out on the hunt to find someone. Yeah. How do I go out and reach out and find those people?
Yeah. So the proactive is a much more tedious process for sure. Reactive PR, which we do a lot of, is our bread and butter at RepuLinks. Is you just wait for the opportunities and submit. It's pretty easy. Proactive is definitely more complicated, but there are tools for you to use. There's a great tool called One Pitch that helps you build media lists based on keywords, topics, and your pitch. I chatted with Jared, the founder of One Pitch, like literally a few weeks ago. He's built a really nice tool there focused on helping both sides of it. Like, this isn't a platform for you to get 100 emails and blast 100 journalists. This is a platform where journalists can find what they're looking for based on just a really trustworthy platform. So using a tool like that to help you find emails is really helpful. But for the most part, like, and this is what I went back to, like, people just not wanting to put in the work. Like, you're going to have to just get down and dirty and start, create a spreadsheet and just start finding articles based on the keywords on Google. Like, if you're pitching, I don't know, solar power, like, you got to start typing things in and finding journalists who are writing about similar things. You could maybe do that by looking at who's written about competitors. If you put in a competitor on Ahrefs, see what articles they've had published about them. Those same journalists might be interested in what you're doing. You could just use Google and use the time tool to say articles written in the last year on solar energy rates in the United States, whatever it is. Find it that way. Use tools to find their emails. Like, basically, as I ramble, like, you're going to have to put the time in, and there's no way around it. Even if you are using a tool like One Pitch, it isn't done with a click of a mouse. It's a slog. And that's where we really put the time and effort in, is finding those lists. But I mean, a great place to start is, like I said, finding that data, finding the story, finding information that, might be valuable. And then the other two would just be like creating a mega list of just like, putting someone on the task of finding people who've written about your topic and just building a spreadsheet of 100 names and emails and linking to the article and then going from there. That's probably the first two steps you're going to take in a proactive PR campaign. And like I said, you're going to have to put the time in, but that you got to do it, or
it's worth it, right?
Yeah, it should be worth it. If you do it right and you're dedicated to it, it will be worth it. You got to put that time in, or don't. And like I said, your competitor will do it and they'll be ahead of you. That's the reality, really.
I love it. And that's what you guys do at RepuLinks. So you went from, we'll circle back to the story, like I said, we would at the beginning. So you were at the PR agency and then you transitioned, I'm assuming, to Fiverr and Upwork and whatnot as the interim, or was that happening while you were at the other agency?
No, I left the agency and just started on my own with Fiverr and Upwork. I worked with them for a long while with launching affordable PR campaigns, basically helping them run a PR campaign to get coverage, as well as link building. So had a few different gigs on those platforms. And then slowly just started seeing success, having people make repeat orders, getting really good coverage for them, getting 5-star reviews, becoming a top gig on Fiverr when it comes to digital PR. And
hard to do. It's a busy marketplace.
It was easier, definitely, from 2020. Like, when I got on there at a great time, the pandemic had hit and people were obsessed with getting backlinks. Like, I mean, people would do anything to get backlinks. They thought it was going to just crack their business wide open. So I was very lucky to get on there at that time, but put in the time, put in the effort. I worked a ton, probably did work for less than I should have gotten. Like I was running some pretty affordable campaigns for people, but in the long run, it helped me get to this point. So after Fiverr and Upwork took off, I went out and started, having a legit business other than just feeling a freelancer. And that was when I launched Darcy Allen PR. I ran it for a few years, running PR campaigns. It went well. But the thing that I noticed for most people is, they came to me looking for backlinks. That was the main goal. That changed. It might not seem like it, but that wasn't always the case when it was PR, when we were talking PR campaigns. Like for the most part, in 2017, people would come because they wanted brand coverage and they didn't really care about the links. If they got a backlink, sure, but that wasn't their main focus. That changed in 2020. It was the link was the main point. They could care less basically about the other content. So I said, well, if that's their goal, then we should do different things than what I was doing, which was running digital PR campaigns. And that's when I transitioned to the more proactive. Now I'm getting the mix. That's when I transitioned to the reactive PR, which is using tools like Hero, Featured, Quoted. And we built a service based on using those platforms to just get backlinks and get brand mentions along the way. As we perfected that, or use perfected loosely because we're always improving and getting better at what we do. But after we figured out our model as far as reactive PR using tools like Featured, we got back into the proactive PR game because there's still value there and there's different objectives on each side. So yeah, it's been a wild journey. Definitely. There's definitely similarities between doing both things. They are very different though. I will tell that to people. Right. If you're responding to Featured and Quoted and Hero to get links, that is amazing. And you should definitely do that. But there is also a larger PR campaign that you can run that would get you different results. And for different clients, depending on your goal, your industry, there's benefits to both. But there's definitely a difference between these two things.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's good. It's cool to watch the journey that you've been on and to where you are. And I think, you said it a couple of times, slog it out. Isn't that just business and life? You just got to do the things, the repeatable things that make the stuff happen that you want to happen.
Yeah, just like keep pitching. That's basically, I think this is a Disney movie. It's like keep swimming or something where it's like keep moving forward. Like in PR, it's like keep
Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming.
Yeah, swimming. You have to just keep pitching, whether that's the reactive PR and Featured, like you have to send a ton of pitches, quality pitches. And then when it comes to the proactive PR, you have to send tons of pitches as well. Like you're not going to hit gold with one pitch. So yeah, just keep at it, slog it out, like build that list, find that data, write your pitches, send them, follow up, be persistent, don't harass people, but be genuine in your PR strategy. And, I really do believe there's opportunities out there for everyone to secure organic coverage.
I do as well. Yeah. No, it's, we say it every time. But, every guest brings something tactical to the show. So if you're listening and you're a hunter, not a gatherer, get out there, make it happen. Do one of the things, Featured is probably the easiest low-hanging fruit. It's such an easy interface. Get on there, get some free pitches in. Where can people find what you're about, Darcy?
I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. I try to be active on there, sharing tips. I literally have shared tips on how to get in some of these publications, like how we pitch and stuff. So follow me on LinkedIn, Darcy Cudmore. I'd love to connect with people and even provide a one-on-one free, no obligation call if I can be of any help. You can check us out at repulinks.com. We've shared some stuff on our blog as well about, using Featured and things like that. But just in general, happy to connect with anyone wherever it might be and provide any insight. Really enjoy the space I'm in. Changes a lot, but there's always opportunities out there. And I'm just really curious to chat with people about their experiences and maybe even help them a little bit.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, appreciate you coming on, Darcy. Guys, like I said, guys and girls listening, go out, take action, jump on Featured, get your free 3 pitches in. Pretty inexpensive to jump on there if you look at what it would cost you to actually buy links, if you can go do the pitches. So Darcy, appreciate you. And everyone listening, we'll see you on the next one. Talk soon.